made its home in the deep forest near the village of Grum, and all anyone ever saw of it before the end would be hard eyes in the dark barrel of its muzzle, the smell of piss and blood and shit, and bubbles of saliva and half-eaten food. The villagers called it the third bear because they had killed 2 bears already that year, but near the end, no one really thought of it as a bear, even though the name had stuck, changed by repetition and fear, and slurring through blood-filled mouths to the bear. Sometimes it even sounded like seether or seabird. The third bear came to the forest in midsummer, and soon most anyone who used the forest trail day or night disappeared, carried off to the creature's lair. By the time even large convoys had traveled through, they would discovered only 2 or 3 of their numbers missing. A straggling horseman, his mount cantering along, just bloodstains and bits of skin sticking to the saddle. A cobbler, gone before a shredded, bloodied hat. A few of the richest villagers hired mercenaries as guards, but when even the strongest men died, silent and alone, the convoy stopped. Winter came, as brutal as it ever had been, and the third bear continued in its work. With the leader of the village gone, the villagers became ever so more listless. Some few disappeared into the forest and were never heard from again. Others feared the forest so much that they ate berries and branches at the outskirts of their homes and never hunted wild game again. Their supplies gave out. Their skin became ever more pale and they stopped washing themselves. They believed the words of the madmen and adopted strange customs. They stopped wearing clothes. They would have relations in the street, and at some point they lost sight of reason entirely. They sacrificed their children to the third bear, who took them as willingly as anyone else. They took to mutilating their bodies, thinking that's what the third bear wanted. Some few who remained in sanity had to be held down and mutilated by others. A few cannibalized those who froze to death, and others who had not died almost wished they had. No relief came from the third bear. No more strong men were brought in to attack. Spring finally came, and the streams thawed, and the birds came back, and the trees regained their leaves, and the frogs began to sing their mating songs. In the deep forest, an old wooden door lay half buried in moss, leading nowhere, all light fading from it, and on an overgrown hill there lay an empty cave, with nothing but a few dead leaves and a few bones littered on the dirt floor. The third bear had finished its pattern and moved on, long, long ago. But for the remaining villagers, he would always be there.